Hey everybody, welcome back to Stamping School. Last week I showed you this briefly. We were working with these tags and I said I'd do the shaker card for you this week, and we'll work with this little bundle here called Pine Tree Trimmings. It's a cute little set that's got these three different kinds of trees, and you've got little dies that go with it. It's funny, the dies come in a little package like this, because there's just 6 of them. So it's about $33, I think, for the bundle. You really don't need the dies unless you're going to use the shaker things. These come extra, they're separate. They are tree domes, and that's what I use to do this little shaker right here. So I have a little trick on how to get that lined up in there. The bundle has the 3 different trees, and then it's got the dies for the packages, a little die for the bow, and a die for the star, and this little garland, and the tree. So looking at the stamp set, you could, fussy cut these out pretty easily, but it is really handy to have this guy right here. Now I'm going to be using the shaker dome for this card, but I wanted to show you how it looks without the shakers, because this is a lot easier to mail, obviously. This one you probably want to hand deliver because it's quite thick, or put it in a padded envelope. But you can just do some really easy, cute trees with this one. This is just stamped on the green paper, garden green paper, and then I used the branching out dies, which I love. We're going to use those on the other card, and literally just a little snippet of ribbon up on top, and then another snippet of ribbon tucked in on the bottom, and just some gold and those sparkles, and some plaid paper. So it makes a cute little card just by itself. All right, well, let's move to the shaker. This card is a little bit larger than a standard card, see? But it is still, I think it's an A6 maybe, but these are the cards and envelopes that are in the Stampin' Up! Mini catalog, I believe, or they're online. But you get 10 cards, 5 of the garden green and gold and the envelopes, and then 5 of the crumb cake. So we're going to use this one for our shaker card. They still just need 1 stamp to mail for this size, which is nice. You can go up to, I think, a 5x7 and still use just 1 first class stamp. So I like a larger card. And yeah, because they have the metallic on them, they're a little bit more pricey. So if you wanted to be thrifty, you could cut these in half and use this for 1 card and this for another card, and layer it on your own cardstock. And I do like stamping the envelope, and I love that the flaps have the pretty gold plaid on there too. They're nice quality, and they're nice and heavy. So for the shaker, the branching out dies, any layering shapes that you have, these are kind of nice though. I didn't even get the stamp set yet because I like a layering shape. So this has a pine cone, a little sprig. It's got this pine needles, and it has all these shapes, which are really nice. So we're going to use this one and the next one up. And we're cutting garden green and white. Now I'm going to show you how also to use these shaker domes without the dies. There's a little trick to that. So those of you that were in the shares with me, the product shares, and you got the splurge, which is like everything, I included some of these domes and the sequins. So I want to show you how to make the shaker if you don't have the dies, because that might be important. So first, let's get the base done. Here is the white layer that we're going to use in the center. I'm going up just a wee bit to this little white line up here, just so I've got some room for my sentiment in there. And then before I add on the top, I'm going to use this tag. This is the one I used last week, the gift tags, and I cut it out in gold foil and added a little garden green tag that comes in that set too, but it's a little bit short. So we're going to cut it in half so I can bring it across. So it'll come right here, right through the middle, and I'll tie the ribbon on last, so I won't glue it down too far. Right there. So you just got a little bit poking out on each side. All right, so let's put that aside. Let's work on the shaker. First, I'm going to show you how to do it if you don't have the dies. So these shaker tree domes, you know, we've had domes for all sorts of things over the years, but they come in a set of 10 and they are $9. And they have adhesive on the front and on the back. And the reason is when you're gonna peel this off and it's gonna stick up underneath here, and then you have to have a way to stick it to the back side. So these are really nice because they have that. But if you wanna take the back of one of these off, carefully, don't rip it, okay? Don't set it down, sticky side down, because we gotta use that. This is what you're going to trace to make your opening if you don't have the dies. Of course, if you have the dies, super simple, right? You cut this out and you put the die here and run it through like I did. But if you don't, then you're gonna lay this down, give yourself enough room here, and trace it, and then you gotta cut it out. Remember, you can't cut it out here, you gotta cut it out from the inside. So you make a little slit, and then you gotta really get in there with your scissors, but it does work. Now, I find it easier to trace on the side that you're not going to be using. That way, if you get the marker lines or something, then, you know, that it won't show on this side. But yeah, it's pretty darn close. You know, it works good enough. If you want to save $33 and just get these, you can. But it's a lot easier with the die. Let's see here. When you cut this out, save it, because we'll need it for the inside of the card. Now the tree that's going to go underneath here, I'm going to do this image here. If you cut it out at 2.25 by 3 inches, it fits really nicely in there, and then you can actually just stamp it. I'll show you what that looks like. Now here I use the front. You want to use the back side so that you don't, if you accidentally miss a little bit. Now you could just stamp it and then trim it afterwards, that's fine. But I find like this is really lined up well for the cards, for the shaker part. So get a big enough block that you can see what you're doing. Sometimes I see people use a very small block and it distorts the side images, right? So just use a big enough block so that you can see what you're doing. And because they're clear, you can go right on top, stamp right in the hole there, and you're good. See, so if I had gotten a little ink on here, it'd be on the back. So, and then that lines up perfectly. Now you could leave it like that, but I did add a little extra green with my blends. I did dark granny apple and light olive and just sort of tap some color in just to give a little bit extra. Now to add the shaker, there's a couple ways that you can do it. I like my window sheet method a lot. Now if you save this, you can put this back on. It might make things a little bit easier in the moment. So that way you don't have to handle all the sticky. You're gonna take the adhesive off the top. And now is a good time to get any fingerprints off of your, if you've touched it too much on the inside. So you're gonna take this piece off. I guess it doesn't matter which one you use to trace with. You could use the top one too, that'd be fine, and leave the other one intact. But I found that top one a little bit harder to get off, but anyway, save it for your template. Now this is sticky, and you're gonna put this underneath like that and push it down. All right, now turn this over, make sure there's no fingerprints, and now this is where you add your sparkles. About a pinch full. And you wanna look at it, does that look about right? That seems about right to me. Now this is where it's really tricky for people with shaker cards, because how do you get this on here, get it all lined up without these falling out all over the place? And that's where I use a window sheet, clear transparency sheet, anything like that. I can add this right here on top. Let's measure this up, get a piece of that. Even our stamp sets now, with the photopolymers, when you open a brand new stamp set, there's a clear sheet. Even that would work if you can save it. So just cover up all of your openings here. Cover everything up with that. Just like that. And if anything's poking out, trim it. What this does is now you can move this around and it's not, look, now It's gonna go right over top of here, and I can line it up. I don't have to worry about things falling out. And it works really, really, really well for that. And if you wanted to add a few embellishments on here that are flat enough, you can. Like these, they're so fantastic. You could even add a few of these on here. Now this doesn't have a lot of red, but I could put some red on there. I can also put a couple of these green on here. And it's not gonna get caught up in the sequins because the sequins are, you know, inside there. Let's see how this looks with just a few little pops of red inside. And we need one more for balance, don't we? Maybe one more here. Maybe a gold one up here. All right, so now we just need to add this in here. And see, I've got a little bit of white sticking out here. Just go in and trim off your little, make sure that doesn't stick out. It's probably just because of the dye, the way the dye swoops in like that. And then on this side, you can go over your transparency with the tape. You can use, I wouldn't use wet glue, but just something strong enough. And because, see, you can pick it up and move it around and line that up in there. And it's cool because these little ornaments up there stay there. So I kind of like that because they're stuck to the tree, not just to the window. These little shaker bits, by the way, are awesome. They're called gold shaker stars, and they're all different. I don't know how to, well, they seem to do that. All different stars. There's open ones, itty bitty, 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 tiny ones. I really, really like them. There's a sequin in there, but they're all just different stars, so you can use them for New Year's Eve, birthdays, all kinds of fun things. All right, now we just glue this down right here. Cover up all that stuff on this side. And line that up. Now for a sentiment, because I remember I raised it up a little bit, this joy is perfect. And it's one of those ephemeras that I was showing you last week that are cardstock. They're fantastic. They've just got so many different sentiments in here, and they already have the adhesive on them. So for this big joy, you're not gonna be able to see this probably, but there's a little seam right here where you take off the adhesive backing here. And I'm only gonna take off the top so that I'm gonna stick it right on the green part there. There's a nice little seam back here to peel off the backing for that, so it's all sticky. Because I don't need this to stick down because there's a little lip right here, so I really just want that to stick there. And if you want to press it down, you can, but I kind of like it kind of open like that. All right, let me show you the inside. Oh, I got to put the ribbon on. There's that green piece that I cut out from this window, and I just stamped it with that little stamp set there. I didn't show you the sentiments, did I? Sorry about that. Oh, Christmas tree, from our house to yours, which is kind of slanted, so it'll fit on a tree nicely. 'Tis the season, sending Christmas wishes. So, oh, and this one right here, it's all one, and it bothers me that it's all one stamp, which is great for a background, but I think because it's photopolymer, I'm gonna trim those apart so I can decorate my tree a little bit easier. I might just cut them into two pieces right here so I can sort of decorate a little bit better. This is all one. Okay, so that's what this looks like. A little bit of gold, a little bit of designer paper back there, from our house to yours, which is in that little ephemera sheets there. And, oh, the ribbon. Okay, about 10 inches of this pretty ribbon. I love this gold. It's like organza, it's so pretty. Fold it in half, come through the front, through the hole, take the loop, put both of those pieces through, but don't pull both at the same time. If you do, you could risk tearing this. Just do one at a time and it'll be just perfect, and then you can trim it. So maybe 8 inches might work. So that's the shaker tree domes. I'll post all the measurements for you for both projects in the PDF below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.